Hello, everyone. Welcome to Handy at the Shandy, a Las Vegas podcast. I am Admiral the Fraud, joined as always by Boring Jack and Table James Games. In hour one of episode 22, we're going to talk about a hodgepodge of things, including Vegas Pet Peeves, Standalone Properties, One Good Things, and tipping, of course, which is a hot topic right now, very timely for us. But let's start with Vegas Pet Peeves.
Well, first of all, speaking of hot topics, I've seen multiple hot topics as standalone stores, like in strip malls, like not in an actual mall. Did you know that like that happens?
I didn't think Hot Topic was still around.
Right? Well, then, Jack, you need to go to your very own Mall of America, because I think there's like 5 in there. I might be slightly exaggerating, but when I went to the Bears game with my buddies last year, we had nothing to do, so we went there. We counted at least 3 or 4 hot topics in that mall alone.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a good joke, but I lost it.
Well, that's a good segue. Speaking of unfunny things, Vegas Pet Peeves, Table Games Kim writes to us, or maybe she just verbally told us to James. She says, I'm stuck between a button masher and someone who keeps hitting the max bet button instead of just hitting the draw button. So James is one of these two, we're going to surmise. But she says that's too many sounds. I agree. So she asks, what are things people do near you at the casino that you find enjoyable? What are things that are annoying? And what are things that will make you straight up move elsewhere? Let's start with enjoyable. Let's start off on a nice, bouncy note here.
Well, first of all, I was not one of these people.
Okay.
Because we were playing video poker in a bank of 4, but only every other one was open. So I was not one of these people.
But this is for social distancing. That makes sense.
We have Palazzo?
Sure. Yeah. Basically. Let's see. What do people do near me in the casino that I find enjoyable besides leaving me the fuck alone? I don't know. I guess like I enjoy people that are genuinely excited about what they are doing. So especially at like let's say a craps table or a blackjack table, like getting excited about winning and like not getting pissed off if they're losing. But I don't know about like at a video poker machine or like a slot machine. Like I don't know what I would find enjoyable.
Oh, see, I was going to say people who are excited about what I'm doing, right? If I get a good hand or something like that. Like I like people who aren't the jealous types at the table, who aren't, angry that it wasn't them. And I think that kind of goes along with our kind of very playful DEF CON system or whatever system we've come up with in the last couple times we've been there, where we're stopping and we're watching each other's play and, making sure that we're celebrating each other, which I think is important, just culturally speaking.
Yeah,
right
James says, I like to see other people win and have a good time. And Adam says, people like to see me win and have a good time.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
I think mine's even like simpler than that. The thing that my first thought was I want to see the person next to me playing Ultimate X video poker. So it's like, oh, that's like one of us, right? Like anyone who plays, or if I go to like a craps table, I want to see someone else betting pass line with come bets, right? Just anyone that plays the way I do, it's always like more fun because you're going to understand each other.
Oh, no. See, I'm different because I like when people are playing goofy stuff that I haven't seen before. Like I like it when someone's like, hey, I'm playing the evens. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to piggyback that.
I've never heard about that before in my life. That's goofy as hell.
But those types of things.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, I do like someone explained Wolf Run Keno to me. And when he was super amped about it just as a general rule. And so I'd certainly like learning new things. But if I had to pick who's going to be sitting next to me at the bar, it's going to be someone that has the same sensibilities as me, probably.
Sure. Okay.
Which is why I keep you guys around.
Well, speaking of us, what are things that you find annoying?
Definitely the button masher, just the
incessant
slap.
Or any way too repetitive or incessant noise is just straight out. Right.
The caveman Kenos. Mm-hmm.
Well, so I knew you were going to bring that up. And I think caveman Keno makes a much more pleasant sound than regular Keno. Because like regular Keno is like ding, 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 ding.
That's fair.
And it's like,
just keeps
whereas
going.
regular caveman Keno makes like little clonk chunk, little like, it's like a pleasant rocks falling off a cliff sound.
It's not that. It's the random like every minute or so where that screeching animal comes, screeches across the
that's on like
screen.
That's on like the idle attract screen though. If someone's actually playing Caveman Keno. I don't think it screeches.
It might. Any Caveman Keno listeners out there, one, stop listening. But before you do that, please write in and let us know. Yeah, the
before you
mechanism
delete
there.
us from our feed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know somebody who is, I would consider one of our friends / friend of the pod that has some button mashing that happens after a few drinks and if they're doing pretty well?
You?
The one and only Josh Duffy, Vegas Duffy.
Is he a button masher?
He's not a button masher, is
Wait,
he?
this next time you see him, next time you see him, he's not a button masher, but like when he gets really excited, then he'll just start like, he'll smack it when it's like going to be a like a good hand, and if he gets on a run, he'll just start smacking it a couple times. Because I remember one time looking over and be like, "Are you going to hit that button any harder, Josh?"
I don't think any of us are friends with like the slot people who like
no.
bang the slot. Like I'm doing it.
Or
It's great
even ones
radio.
that like during like a bonus or whatever, just slam on the button just as fast as they can, trying to get something to go quickly. I guess I don't mind someone hitting the button with a lot of force if they're not doing it like over repetitively.
Sure. Especially at our bars, right? When you got to change the buttons at Chandelier, we don't like that. And we got to call
the
somebody.
buttons, they're never working.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is something that would make you straight up move elsewhere? For me, it's because I don't mind smoking, but it's especially a cigar smoker who just isn't cognizant of where their smoke is going. Like if you're there first, smoke away. It's up to me to find a new place. But sometimes you get the person who sits down next to you, the smoke is just wafting right in your face, at least my face. I'm like, I just have to get out of here. It's not enjoyable for me.
This is one thing I've thought a lot about, which is I should be more willing to just move somewhere else. If anything even irks me a little, like you don't need to put up with anything. And like the more you put up with it, the more you like resent yourself at the same time that you're resenting whomever is causing the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You sit here being like this fucking guy. And I wish, you're like, I can't believe I have to stay here and I'm making myself more mad. And it's just like, you can just leave. You can just go do something else. Like that's the great part about Vegas. And so like, there's all sorts of things that I think should make me move somewhere else. I think the biggest one, there's kind of two, but I think the biggest thing in Vegas that I dislike is someone who is being rude to the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like they're just like chewing out the dealer at a table or they're just being ornery with the bartender. It's just like they're creating a hostile environment. And you can kind of see it coming pretty quickly when they start to like, I don't know, hard to describe, but like you can see people start to get argumentative too early and you're just like, oh, I see exactly where this is going kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely at a craps table, I will leave if I feel like people are being rude. I used to leave blackjack tables very quickly if someone wasn't playing at least pretty close to basic strategy. And it wasn't because I thought that it was changing the cards. It's just that I knew mentally I would get annoyed by it and I didn't want to gamble while annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Same thing with Adam. Like, I don't mind if people are smoking.
I was going to say, just leave when I'm around.
No, that's true too. But if it's just like really in my face, I'm like, hey, I'm just don't want this right now. Sure, I will leave. I don't think there's anything, even if I'm annoyed by the button smashing or the caveman keno, I don't think that would ever make me actually leave. I would probably just roll my eyes.
Yeah, I feel like the casino has enough sounds and things that's not something I would leave based on. But yeah, I guess that's mostly just because it doesn't bother me that much. Maybe not because I'm not willing to leave over it. Another thing that really annoys me is when people are giving poor advice to someone who's like new to gambling. And you have to overhear some guy like explaining to his wife why she should hold 3-3 queen at like the video poker game she's playing. And it's just, I'm sitting there just being like, and it's always some like old guy. And he's like, now listen here, it's going to be 3-3 queen is the hold on this one, honey. And you're just like, oh my Lord. But you see that a lot, even at like the craps table where someone goes to do something, say, oh no, don't do that, do this instead. And you're just sitting there being like, that's not right. And I'm not going to speak up because I don't want to be annoying, but you're being annoying.
I hate when that like happens at sporting events every now and then. I'll just be like trying to watch a game and there's someone behind me who's trying to explain the game to someone else and they're just doing it completely wrong. I'm just like, what are you talking about? I hate it.
Another thing that's kind of along the same vein of players being rude to the dealers is the pit boss being rude to the players. That's something I need to have less tolerance for, because I mean, it's never the dealers being rude to the players. Like the number of dealers where you're like, oh, that dealer was looking to start shit is like 0. I feel like I don't know if I've ever seen it. I've seen some dealers that aren't as happy as others or whatever, but like, I don't think any of the dealers come to work being like, I'm going to antagonize my patrons. Whereas I think some pit bosses do, or at least that's the only explanation for their behavior some of the time. So that's when I have to start moving away on. Like if I'm at a table where the pit boss is trying to get into it, just go to a different table.
Just get out.
And I think it's a good lesson that you said earlier, where there's so many options there that just get up and leave if something's annoying you and you're not in the right headspace.
Well, that's the tough part about Vegas in general, is just like getting up and leaving from whatever you're doing, right? We've talked about it from like our itinerary perspective, but also just from like a gambling perspective. That's the fun part about gambling, is gambling makes you want to keep gambling. So, well, thank you for that one, Table Games Kim. What do we got next, Adam?
Yeah, so this was a topic or a thing that I did a long time ago. I wrote an article where I just kind of broke down one thing I liked at every single casino in Las Vegas, on the Strip and downtown. And people tended to gravitate to it. They liked it. They like sharing their kind of points of view. So I figured we'd do this maybe bi-weekly whenever we run an episode. So I figured we start at the south end of the Strip and we just talk about Mandalay Bay, Luxor, and Excalibur. And if we can talk about one thing we like at each of those properties, sometimes, you know,
we're jumping right in the deep end. We're starting with some of the toughest ones. In some
that's what I mean. Sometimes it's tough to do, but I do think that there are kind of little hidden gems at every property. So, James, do you have anything that you particularly like at Mandalay Bay? It's probably been a while for you.
God, I do not know the last time I stepped foot in Mandalay Bay. So I'm going to say that it is the first casino that I see that really means that I'm getting to Vegas when I'm driving in from like Southern California. Like,
okay,
that's what I'm going with. And I will say though, I'm planning maybe stopping by there when I am down that way in 4 weeks when I'm in Vegas. I'm thinking of maybe
stop by.
Wow.
I might stop by, mainly because I think Kim's actually going to stay there for a couple nights, because she'll be in Vegas without me a few days before. So we might overlap for a little bit and I might jump down there. But I also probably will just stay at Cosmo and say, come visit me there.
Yeah, so James's favorite thing about Mandalay Bay is that sometimes he sees it. So this is a ringing endorsement. I will be staying there this year. I know that for a fact, because I just booked my room there for a couple nights in the summer. But I think that Mandalay Bay sometimes gets overlooked as a good food resort in Las Vegas. Libertine Social, Strip Steak being kind of the two prime ones there. I'm not always a fan of the way it's laid out, like casino-wise. It's very spread out.
And it's so dark and square. And I have a really hard, and the center bar, I think one of the things that's hardest for me is that the center bar is very not inviting. Like when you're sitting at the center bar, you're looking away from the rest of the casino, and it's like highly segmented into like little pods. And so there's not really, you're kind of taking yourself out of the action to sit at the center bar, which is kind of the opposite of the way that most of the bars we like are.
Yeah, and it kind of turns into like a nightclub dance vibe late at night, which is kind of weird too. So yeah, like there's not a ton casino-wise that I feel like it has going for it.
I'm just shitting on Mandalay Bay.
This is one good thing and 12 bad things. But I do like Mandalay Bay overall. I think the rooms are great, really, really spacious, and I think overall good value if we count the W, formerly Delano, formerly The Hotel.
The Hotel, yeah.
So a lot of formalies in there. But if we include that, I think it's a great value property. Location kind of sucks, but it's still a place that I enjoy visiting.
Yeah, I was going to say the first thing that I came up with, and I realized that this kind of sounds like I Googled interesting things about Mandalay Bay, which I did not, at least not recently, is that they have one of the largest rooftop solar arrays in the world for solar panels. And I think at the time of construction, it might have been the biggest. Basically, their entire convention center space, which is pretty expansive, is just covered in solar panels. So go take a look at that on like Google Earth or Google Maps. It's like actually kind of cool. But that doesn't really impact me. So the thing I'm going to say about it actually is just the lobby bar at the W Hotel. Like it used to be the Franklin's bar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have actually like pretty good cocktails in there. At least they did last time I was in. And so I thought that was a great place to grab a drink.
Yeah, you used to be able to get like a barrel of something.
Oh yeah.
And I never actually did that.
I didn't get a barrel of something, but I certainly got a cocktail from one of their little barrels. And so that was cool.
So if we take a little walk, we can get to a giant pyramid, which I'm sure James also sees when he's driving in. He passes Tahiti Village and Mandalay Bay. He gets all the sights in. And then is that Luxor? James, anything positive to say about Luxor besides the fact that you can see it?
Carrot Top. And I'm serious.
Yeah.
I went last year to see Carrot Top. And now I went in with very low expectations. So maybe that's what I should do for more entertainment. Like listening to, let's say, this podcast. But no, I went in and I was like, it's whatever. But I thought it was excellent. I thought it was like really, really entertaining. And I tell anyone if they are looking for a show to go to in Vegas, I do think you should see Carrot Top while he's still there.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a comedian 20 years ago that I thought I'd like handpicked, this is the one who's going to have staying power. I never thought it was going to be Carrot Top.
Right.
No offense to him. And he would probably laugh at that too. But like, I feel like he found the perfect fit at Luxor. Like they were made for each other.
Yeah.
And he continues to have this incredibly successful run where it's like a comedian that's like, what a dream. Like you have decades worth of a residency that, and you could just live in one spot.
Yeah.
No, I've heard good things about that show as well. For me, the number one thing I like about the Luxor is when you're up on the second level, just like looking up into the hotel atrium. I think that view is super cool. It's a shame that you can't see it from the casino because the casino's on like the lower level. And obviously that makes sense. You would need to have a ceiling over your casino. Being able to look up into the atrium is cool. It's just that second level just kind of doesn't have much else going for it. So there's not really any reason you'd be up there unless you're just passing through. And so I do a lot of passing through over at the Luxor, but
yeah, I was going to say do something slightly different. I've talked about it before, maybe not on here. The tower suites are actually pretty good, at least Luxor standards wise. So I think the 1-bedroom tower suites, you don't have to get in the inclinator. You're not in the pyramid. They've got multiple towers. If you're on a budget, say you've got like a bachelor party, bachelorette party, whatever, and you want one room that's like really convenient to meet up in, it's got like a dry bar, or maybe it's a wet bar. I'm not sure. But it's got kind of a big living space, a nice bathroom. You can get those rooms for under $200 a night, most nights. So the tower 1-bedroom suite at the Luxor is actually a really good value play, in my opinion. And I think their tower rooms still hold up as pretty decent rooms.
And we've even seen from like the higher end of that, people like 360 Vegas taking one of their like bigger penthouse rooms and putting together even a larger event in there. And that's something they could get away with because, a penthouse at the Luxor is going to be significantly more affordable than a penthouse at some of the other mid-strip properties.
Yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't sleep on Luxor in terms of those higher end rooms if you're on a budget. All right. And now everybody's favorite. You walk over. I don't think the moving walkways work here anymore, but we go to Excalibur. Maybe Jack, we'll start with you on this one. I keep putting James on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to just keep saying the center bar that they put in there. The brand new center bar that I've never been to. Adam says he's been there. We don't believe it.
That was the second day it was open. I'm such a fan.
I think they did a great job with that. And that's, I can't say that there's anything else I like about it. They have a Krispy Kreme donut that is easy to get to when you're on your morning walk. So you can grab a donut.
A Buca di Beppo, yeah.
I'm going to go with that they kept the theming alive. Now, it's not like we've had a whole episode on theming and how it could be more, but at least it's like it's still there. They're still holding on to it.
From the outside, certainly.
Right. I mean, at one point, it's like, what can you do? Because you can't just pretend it's something else. You can't. It's a castle. Like,
oh, in the vein of Carrot Top, obviously the Mac King show at Excalibur. The one show I have ever seen in my n number of trips to Las Vegas. I have to shout that one out.
This segment is called One Good Thing, not multiple good things, Jack.
Well, then I'm going to cancel the center bar and say Matt King at Excalibur. Go see his comedy magic, family-friendly matinee show.
Okay, then I'm going to take the center bar at Excalibur then for mine because I think it absolutely what that place needed. Where that has been put it was just like a big empty space they couldn't figure out what to do with. Like they spread out some table games before. They actually had like
it was like a crossroad, right? It was basically like the point where the two major walkways came to the middle, in the middle of the casino. But yeah, there was no fanfare. There was nothing interesting about it.
Yeah, and to the side, they used to have like the poker area. I don't even want to call it a room. It was an open air poker area.
Off.
Yeah, with like hockey boards around it. Like that's how they separated it.
Poker corral.
But once they got rid of the poker corral, that place was just sparse. There was nothing there. It looked really awkward and kind of depressing. So once they got that in there, it really kind of livened it up a bit. So I'm happy they did that. All right, so that's multiple good things about properties we don't visit very often. So well done, guys.
I look forward to doing this each week. I think in general, just anything that makes you talk about a Vegas casino is just fun because, kind of like what you talked about last week with some of your favorite series from 500. It's just like, I don't know, just chat about a place.
I think that was when I did this a couple years ago. That was kind of my inspiration. Was going through that.
And then this time, your inspiration was the time you did it a couple years ago.
The time I did it, yeah, I plagiarized myself. So next, let's talk about video poker gimmicks. Can video poker steal gimmicks from slot machines in a way that's an improvement here? And now, when I first heard this or saw this on the sheet, I was thinking like, when you get a spare at the bowling alley and they have some like dumb like 16-bit cartoon come up that's ridiculous, like a little bomb or something that goes and blows something. I think that to me would be my fun video poker gimmick if you get like a 4 of a kind straight flush or a royal flush. I don't know what, people can write in of what the animations would be. Please keep it appropriate. I've seen some intense ones out there. But that was immediately what came to mind.
That's an amazing idea, especially like given that video poker machines are so antiquated feeling. Like even the newest ones, they still use kind of the old graphics and old interface. Yeah. So that'd be, I think, very fitting.
Or you could do like themed ones, right? So if you had a themed machine, maybe the theme doesn't come up that often, but like if you're about to get a really good dealt hand, they could have some sort of break or cut scene that comes up with that theme in, right? Game of Thrones, maybe the dragons putting someone in flames, like something really good's about to happen. I'm going to get a really good dealt hand here. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Now, what I'm thinking is the last card, right? If you like already have 3 aces dealt, and then the last card will just like spin. So it takes a little while longer. Like you have to hit the button one more time. So it builds that anticipation up of like, ooh, maybe I will get dealt 4 aces. Like if you already have a made hand with the first 4 cards, the 5th one is just going to kind of sit there and you have to hit it again to stop it.
I like that, especially on like multi-lines, right? Where we've talked about like the 10 line where it's like, it goes so fast and I don't even know what happened.
Especially because, one fact I always like to point out is that like half the time you make a 4 of a kind, it will have been that you started with a pair. And so like, on multi-line, when you start with a pair and turn it into a quad, you never even notice you had the 3 of a kind and were drawing to the quad because it all just comes in so fast.
Right.
And so that would be a great spot to do it, like James is saying on the opening hand. But also when your 2 turns into 3, letting you sweat the 4th would be really fun because oftentimes you didn't even notice you got the 3rd.
Yeah, it's like video poker edging, right? You're just like hanging out there to wait for it.
Didn't Adam say this was supposed to be appropriate?
Good Lord.
One thing that happens a lot, Adam hinted at this with some of his themed stuff. One thing slot machines do a lot is like a luck has arrived gimmick that like right before something good happens to you, they play some sort of like splash animation that's like something big's coming. And I feel like I actually really don't like that on slots. And I would not want it on video poker because it's one of those things that it's taking away some of your like quote unquote like natural or normal deals and replacing it with luck has arrived deals. And so as a result, it's one of those things where when games overdo it, the fact that you didn't see the luck has arrived means that you shouldn't be too excited about what you're about to get because, half the time if you were going to get something, you would have seen the animation. And so you start to see some aces come out of the chute and you're like, well, it didn't show me the big dragon torching someone. So
you could get a dragon torch after a couple aces have hit the board,
But then it's the same sort of thing. A couple aces come, oop, no dragon. Now I don't get to be as excited.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was done sparingly enough that it didn't really change the overall probability of you, I don't know. It's
Isn't
just not
like
for me.
Dream card, it's not the same, but it's similar in the sense that like the dream card comes up and you're like, sometimes it really helps the hand and sometimes it just like kind of helps the hand. So wouldn't like luck has arrived, like you get the dragon, because I guess we're going with dragons. I fucking hate dragons. Dragons.
sorry.
I'm just not a fantastical person, people. And then maybe you like just get a pair of deuces.
The
You're
thing I like
damn.
about Excalibur is the theming.
Yeah, and the dragons and the fighting and the magic.
I did not say it's something I like. It was not one thing you like. It was one good thing. Okay.
Well, I think Main Street Station had it right, where every quad you should just get a lotto ticket.
Ooh, I love
bring that back. I mean, my goodness, people.
The other thing I was thinking about for like slot gimmicks and they apply to video poker is like slots. Very often the bonuses will award free spins. And then obviously the things you get in the bonus are slightly better than your average spin, maybe because there's, better symbols on the reels or more wilds, or the wilds are multipliers where normally they're not. All those little things that can happen to enhance the free spins. What would you do in video poker if hitting a certain hand also meant that you got a bunch of free hands?
I mean, isn't that what Powerhouse Poker really is, right? Like if you get trips one hand, the next time you get those extra hands above. Isn't that kind of like free
it's kind
spins?
of like that. It's not like
free hands.
It's more things on the deal, but it's not like it's not replacing situations where you would have had to spend money. It's not like, okay, the next 10 times you would have hit the button and played a hand are just completely free. To your point, it doesn't seem like something super easy to put into video poker, which is why I've thought about it. Like obviously in Keno, it's easy. Like Cleopatra Keno awards free spins if you get like a certain scarab thingy. And that's really standard. It's just you get the next number of spins covered.
I mean, you could get the next number of hands covered. They just cost 0, right? And
maybe we do like a shockwave video poker like that. So not only like for the shockwave mode, do the next 10 hands make a quad really good, but we somehow like juice it so that they're free as well. And it just kind of plays automatically.
You throw a wild in there or something.
Ooh, like a Joker, like a Joker bonus feature where like the game changes to Joker poker but keeps the same pay table if you get something.
Right. Okay. Now we're rocking and rolling.
And maybe 10,000 hands at once.
Yeah. Is Aristocrat listening?
IGT.
Aristocrat does it too, right?
They make the world's worst video poker.
But I think they'd be more into this segment than IGT, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not going to play it. I'm
not talking about you.
It's the uncanny valley of video poker machines is what they make, right?
Okay. Well, anyway, Aristocrat, I love you. If you're listening, we've got ideas.
Aristocrat, if you're listening, just put us in touch with IGT.
It's cool. Send us your contact. All right, that's it for video poker gimmicks. Let's talk about standalone properties. And really, we're just going to be answering a question about a standalone property that we're going to come up with. So what casino or casinos would do well if they spun off from their larger corporate holding? And we can't say Cosmo.
Oh, it should be Cosmo.
Yeah. We know that Caesars has floated the idea of selling off a strip property, but are there any that you think, I think many would benefit from having an independent owner, but is there a property you think kind of is primed and would do really well with an independent owner?
My first thought actually is the aforementioned Mandalay Bay, where it's far enough away that it's not getting all the benefits of being in the MGM ecosystem the way something like a Park MGM is, where it's just kind of surrounded by people that are staying at MGM resorts on all sides. And it's big. Like Mandalay Bay has 2 hotel towers, a giant pool complex, a huge convention center. It's got the 4 seasons at it. It's big on the inside as well. Like you said, it feels kind of sparse and spread out, but it doesn't have to be that way. They could add more F&B. They could add more density to the casino by doing kind of what Excalibur did, maybe add a bar here or there. So I think Mandalay Bay actually could function as a standalone property, and it doesn't need MGM propping it up to get visitors.
Well, it also has Allegiant down there, right? And the new ballpark will be there. So I do think that's a good call.
Yeah, all the standalone properties right now are on the North Strip, and there's nothing there. So it'd already be doing better than them.
I'm going to go with the Flamingo.
Ooh.
And the reason for that is I I think that has a standalone brand that could, if they maybe, if you were to lean into the old Vegas and really lean into the lights and the pink and the flamingo and like go back historically, perhaps someone could take it and, make it a little more boutique-y, and I think it'd be really cool. I don't know. I don't think I'd still go, but like, I think
have you seen their new center bar?
I have not.
Just lunch. No pink in it at all. What? It's really disappointing.
This is the redo of the Bugsy's bar, or?
Yeah, we'll call it that. I think that's the one. No, I don't think it's Bugsy's bar. I think it's something else. Maybe it is Bugsy's bar. Someone will write in and let us know. But anyway, I saw pictures of it, and they've got like the green for the seats, like the leaves and a bit little tropical, whatever, but no shades of pink anywhere, which was really disappointing to me.
Yeah, leaning into kind of the old school neon. There's not a lot of neon left on the strip, and they've still got some, and so that would be cool. It certainly makes more sense than spinning off like a Harrah's and be like, "Come on down, it's Harrah's." Right. I mean, obviously the spin-offer, whoever does this could change the name if they wanted to, but I like that idea. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, mine was going to be Planet Hollywood, actually, and
because it doesn't suck, so it should leave Caesars.
But it's mainly because I really liked, when I was younger, MGM Grand, because they leaned heavily into like the movie theme. And it was really kind of just cool walking in there. And we know kind of the Planet Hollywood brand for a long time was kind of very, well, of course, Hollywood chic.
Memorabilia brand, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they've gone away from that. I think one thing, I think Caesars just doesn't really know what to do with these resorts anymore. Like Link is boring, Harrah's is boring. Flamingo's a bit boring. They have so many hotels that it's like we don't have the mental bandwidth to figure out something unique for each of these. But I think Planet Hollywood has its own brand that's kind of ready and primed that you could kind of lean into and make it feel a little bit more Hollywood. You don't have to go to like old school 1930s, 40s, 50s Hollywood, but like it could be fun, like leaning into that memorabilia, rock and roll even type thing without, I think, too much of an effort there. And still keep it like a cool place.
Do you think there's anything they can do about the outside? Because it was obviously built as the new Aladdin. And so it kind of has that like vaguely, Middle Eastern architecture.
I know. I kind of love that with the windows.
Really? I think it looks so out of place. And
it does. Of course. That's why I love it.
It also just looks so gray compared to a lot of the newer buildings that have more glass on them or more color. It's just kind of this sandstone and thin window look. I would feel better about staying there if I knew it looked better from the outside. I don't know if that's like super shallow, but like the look just bugs me with Planet Hollywood.
I'm realizing that I'm just saying just rebrand it into Hard Rock is what
that's exactly what you're saying.
Call it the Hard Rock Aladdin.
Yeah. But I think that's the one that I think would be the easiest lift for them. Because like I hated what they did with Link, which is like, let's just paint it a bunch of weird colors. And this would be great. And then we'll call it the Quad for a week and a half. And then we'll change it to the Link. And they didn't do anything with it. It's just weird in there. It's so weird. It was either going to be Paris or Planet Hollywood. Because I think I like the Paris theme still. But yeah.
I would be very interested. I don't think MGM is going to change their portfolio, either expanding or contracting anytime soon. But Caesars is always looking to liquidate whatever they can to pay off their massive debt load. I mean, people were talking about Caesars potentially being sold recently. Like there were bids coming in from, I think, both Fertitta and Carl Icahn was looking at it. That's never a good sign when he's looking at your holdings. So you never know what's going to happen with Caesars. And so it is kind of interesting to think about, like, what could they do with some of these properties that aren't Caesar's Palace?
Oh, yeah. And I thought it was a smart thing that MGM did, which is just, we're going to cut off, we're going to get rid of Mirage because you're jumping through multiple properties to get there away from us. And then we're going to acquire Cosmos. And they're all just kind of lined up there really nicely. Whereas Caesars kind of has that problem where I bet they would like to consolidate, but the flagship name resort is on the opposite side of the strip.
It's on the wrong side of the street.
Everything else. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, if people have ideas, let us know. I think there's no wrong answer here. That's for sure. I was thinking Harrah's too, just because it kind of has that gambling brand, and it's also kind of just a boring place to be.
See, I feel like a place like Harrah's, though, it's a little too low rent to be standalone. Like the slightly less luxurious the property is, the more it needs to be propped up by the large players club that gives you that big base of people that want to come and
that makes sense
and fill the rooms.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm interested to hear what people think here, because there's there's so many options. But we had a couple miscellaneous things kind of thrown at us. We're calling this "Where Can I Find?" And there's
Where
two
can I
things.
find?
Where can I find? Number one is a bougie cup of coffee. Now, several years ago, I would have said Samba Latte at Monte Carlo, because that was my favorite place to get coffee in Las Vegas. But do either of you have a good bougie cup of coffee place to go?
Yeah, this was a question from my friend Ben. He was saying that there's a lot of just mediocre coffee in Vegas, is what he's noticed.
Fair,
and
yeah.
So you would think that in general, with their kind of reputation for luxurious stuff, that you could find like a fancy, bougie, hipster coffee shop that, I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't really understand what makes coffee good or not. But the coffee snobs like their coffee. And I imagine that if you were like a wine snob, you could find very nice wine at a lot of places in Vegas. So the fact that you can't find fancy coffee seems strange.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, so I cannot I have nothing to contribute to this.
This is a question for our listeners then. We need someone to write in and say, other than a shuttered shop at the former Monte Carlo, where can you get fancy coffee in Vegas?
I mean, I like the little coffee shop in Wynn. I don't know what it's called. They like pastries and like sandwiches and stuff like that. That was good on my recent trip. But yeah, this is great. Where can I find? We pose a question, then we don't really answer.
What a segment.
I was wondering if maybe like the Wynn Tower Sweets Bar or stuff like that would be a good place to look. Is actually just go around to some of these higher end casinos and go to like whatever's their breakfast spot. Like, like isn't there like a breakfast restaurant at the Four Seasons? Like surely they make good coffee there, something like that.
Call it patio or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Veranda Cafe. Yeah. And I'm not sure it'll meet, whatever standards Ben has, but I think in general, just trying to go to the nicest place you can, the nicest place you're allowed to get into, and see what they serve there.
Well, and the next one is, where can I find some peace and quiet? It just sounds like our listeners don't want to be in Vegas. I want a good cup of coffee and some peace and quiet.
Yeah, I would say most of the low-end Caesars casino floors right now would probably be a good place to
Stop it.
visit. I don't know. What am I going to say here?
Well, wasn't this your one? My answer to this was Adam's answer, which is in your room.
Yep.
Like one of the reasons that Adam is more big on having a nice room than the other two of us, even though, we have our share of liking our nice spaces, but he likes to go there to get away. And I think that's important because in Vegas, you kind of have to. There's not really anywhere else you can go.
Why did we think this was my question? I don't remember asking this. Was I drunk and needed like some peace and quiet? And I was like, hey, where could I find that in Vegas?
I put this on here from something you said. I guarantee it.
It's got to be from me.
We'll go through the text chat on the break between hour 1 and hour 2. We'll get to the bottom of this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely the room, but I mean, maybe it's like early morning walks. Like it's pretty peaceful and quiet, I think, when you go on your early morning walks, right? I like that.
That's a good answer. I think the pool is a underutilized one. If you get to the pool when it opens, it's generally very chill.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll reiterate your room. I respect people that say I just need a place to put my head and I sleep 4 or 5 hours in Vegas. It's just not me at this point, which is why, yeah, I'm happy paying a little bit extra to make sure that I have a space to go to.
But I think it's a good question because everything else about Vegas is so overstimulating. Like that's kind of what it tries to do. Like the casinos, even at 5 a.m, when they're dead, they're still playing loud music. There's still all the sounds and lights of the machines and stuff like that. And so not always easy to find.
Yeah.
I think a good answer is also like a high limit room. Like if you tuck into like a high limit room or a high limit lounge, they'll often just have places for people to sit where you can kind of get away from it all for a bit. I know that's true at like the Wynn high limit slots or the Palazzo high limit table games and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you want a place to just grab a drink, don't be afraid to go in there. Like you don't have to be playing to go in there. Don't be intimidated by going into a high limit room. Just go in, get a drink. I mean, obviously you're going to pay for it if you're not playing or anything, but it is a good place to just kind of break away from the hustle and bustle, but still have some good people watching too.
That was a good question, James.
That was a great segment. Next week on Where Can I Find? Where can I find a better segment?
All right. Final topic for hour one is tipping, and it's been a hot button issue for, forever in Las Vegas. But Vital Vegas reported on Twitter recently that a couple won a $10 million jackpot and left without tipping. What are our thoughts about this?
My first thought is it's your money and you get to do what you want with it. I would not have done that. I personally would have tipped a lot of people, probably anybody that I came in contact with that day. It's kind of shitty because that's kind of the whole thing in my mind. Why I do gambling, why I go to Vegas and whatnot is because I'm like sharing in the highs and then also like sharing in the lows. So I think it's
ask
kind of
for money from the bartenders when you lose too much.
when I'm losing. I don't know if I asked money from the bartenders, but I have been like, hey, like I just lost $500. I need another drink and I'm leaving, right? Or like I've asked like a host or the casino, like this is a really bad trip. What can you do for me? So I guess kind of
get them to share in the lows. I feel like if I was ever going to forget to tip, it'd probably be on the day that I won $10 million, right? Like, I don't even begrudge someone for not tipping on an amount that's that big because you're thinking about like everything else in your life that has changed.
I got to
right?
get
like
my lawyer or a lawyer.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, well, one, this is early reporting, probably one report. We don't know, but I think it's probably to give these people some grace. Apparently, like I said, it was a couple. Maybe it could have been someone who's not used to going to Vegas, not used to this culture of tipping, and just got flustered, right? Or didn't know that you could take some in cash. I'm sure the casino maybe said something like, hey, you can get the check, but also we can give you some cash. But like, if what people are suggesting they should have tipped, which is like upwards of $100,000, like you obviously don't have that on you at the moment. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to take the check, I'm going to take the money, and then maybe come back and tip when I've got my wherewithal later on. And who knows, maybe they did come back and tip some people, or maybe they were more generous the rest of their trip. Hopefully they were, but these are early reports, and I'm a big fan of tipping, but I can understand if someone is flustered in the moment, doesn't really know what to do, and isn't accustomed to tipping a slot attendant either.
I've always found it really weird that people generally advocate for percentage-based tipping, right? Like, oh, if I won like a jackpot, I'd tip like 5% or something like that. So I was just like, it seems really strange to me. I mean, other arenas we do it in where you tip some percentage of your bill at a restaurant or stuff like that.
Yeah, 5%, yeah.
Yeah. I think the only reason that I kind of put up with that, the reason that it feels okay to tip more at a fancier restaurant on a more expensive bill, is that kind of enables the higher end restaurants to be more selective about who they hire and you get better service, right? Like it feeds it so that the better servers will get better jobs at higher end places. And so you kind of just tip more in the same way that you spend more to get a better experience. But I don't think that happens with winning a bigger amount versus a lesser amount, right? Like that nothing applies there.
I don't think so. I've never won $10 million in a slot machine. I assume the paperwork might be a little bit more intensive depending on the game and who's actually doing the payout and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I think generally speaking, it's kind of the same process.
And even if more people are doing more work to facilitate you getting the $10 million, you're not reaping the benefits of that in some sense, right?
Right.
They have to do it. You would just prefer that they give you the check and move on, right? And that's the thing people always say about tipping slot attendants is like, you're tipping for a service that you actively would prefer to not be getting. And so...
Right. That's fair. Yeah, I think it gets so divisive about something like this where you get so many of the reactions. I was going to say, well, the reactions are so heated, but I guess it's only the heated people that are responding. Whereas I think the three of us are kind of somewhere in the middle where we prefer people to tip, but we understand why either they're confused or they don't. But we're not chiming in on these kinds of debates typically.
I don't know. I was going to start yelling on Twitter. I was going to be like, it's okay, but it could have been not okay. I was going to start yelling that stuff.
There's no room for that. But tipping on a hand pay, what do we usually do?
I've talked about this before. I've started tipping less on hand pays. I don't think I would have to hit some extraordinary amount to tip more than $20 to a slot attendant on a hand pay these days. I think if I hit something big, I will just like tip the bartender 100 rather than up the slot attendant's tip to 100 or something like that. Yeah, again, it's the same sort of thing. Tip for the service you want, not the service you have. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, hey, keep it in. I've been giving about 1%. So if it's a little over $2,000 for hand pay, it's 20. And then, if it gets in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, it's like 30 or 40. I haven't hit anything really much higher than that. But when I win $10 million, I will say it is not. I don't think it would still be
1%.
1%. Like I really don't. I don't think it would be.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat, between $20-$40 for hand pay. Well, probably 40 now because it's up to 2,000. I haven't hit one at the $2,000 threshold yet, so I can't say what I would do. But do what you're comfortable with and what makes sense to you in the moment, and don't let other people pressure you into thinking that you have to be more generous than you feel you need to be.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's interesting about tipping in Vegas specifically is that you'll never be the biggest tipper that day. You're the main reason that I tip is to show that I'm someone who tips. Like, it's not about making sure that I'm feeding this bartender's family or whatever, because even if I'm tipping $5 a drink and getting a ton of drinks, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to the guy that comes up and tips $100 for something, right? Which you see on occasion at some of these bars. And so it's just like, it's the same thing at the craps table. I can be tipping on every roll. I can be adding odds for the dealers and stuff like that. And one guy just like tosses him a black chip when he cashes out. And it's like, oh, I was the only one tipping at the whole table, and I'm not even the biggest tipper at the table, right? Like, so it's really easy to feel like your tips don't make a difference. And in some sense, they kind of don't. And so as a result, I think you just kind of do it to show that
you're a good person.
That you're doing what you wish everyone else would do, right? I'm definitely an above average tipper, but nowhere near the ones that move the needle.
Yeah, you're very average, Jack.
That's not what I said, but...
Well, on that note, thank you, Average Jack, for joining us. Thank you, Table James Games. I'm Adam the Fraud. Thanks for listening to episode 22, Hour 1. We'll be back in Hour 2 with listener questions.
Take care.
That sounds great.